This is your host Louise. Welcome to another episode of the Pet Loss Journals. It's me again this week, and I would love to delve in a little bit more about a topic that I think a lot of my clients have been struggling with this year, and I wanted to delve into it further, really, to be honest. And what this topic is going to be all about is the questions that I get asked most often in sessions, and so the universal challenges that grieving pet parents face, the main universal challenges that they face. And I think it's going to be important for me to kind of delve into these a little bit more. It may answer some questions that you have had, that you're feeling at the moment. Yeah, so I'm going to jump straight into it. Oh, before I do, did you enjoy last week's episode? If you did, send me an email or send me a DM on Instagram and let me know if you would like another pet loss meditation. If it was helpful, if you experienced any, emotions such as a release of grief, whether the tears came up, was it emotional for you? Did it help? Did it relieve some pain, some emotional pain? That's a lot of questions that I've asked you, but if you'd like another episode where it is a pet loss meditation, please let me know. I'm just trialing it, so if you would like it, let me know. I'll put up a poll as well on Instagram to see if you liked it. But yes, moving on to this week's focus and topic. So, the universal challenges that a grieving pet parent will face, from my client sessions, from my own experience as well. So I'm going to touch on a few of these. Number one is going to be the question, I feel like no one understands my grief. That is very universal and such a challenge. So the isolation of grieving a pet in society that just doesn't often get it. The majority in society don't get it, and that's something that we have to face. So the grief of pet loss, as I've said so many times, is often minimised, invalidated, dismissed, disenfranchised. And you'll hear phrases like, it was just a dog, it was just a cat, or you can just get another one. So so many people will have come up against these phrases and comments, and so I want to explore how painful it is to feel alone in your grief, especially if close friends or family just don't acknowledge it. They don't acknowledge the depth of your loss. They know that you're going through it, but they just refuse to acknowledge it, and they are sometimes purposefully ignoring it and pretending that it's not happening, which is really painful. I can relate, unfortunately. And grief is not just about the species, but about the relationship. So pets are often our soulmates, our emotional support, our family, our children in many ways. And it's important to kind of know that so many people feel that way. So how to advocate for your grief is going to be a really important part if you're at the beginning of your journey. But if you're going through it right now, and whatever you're in the middle of it, whatever stage you're at, whatever section of it that you're in, finding books, online spaces, support communities, this podcast, my book, whatever that is that's going to help you to feel that you're advocating for your needs, for your grief, and finding that validation where it feels right for you. So I want to acknowledge that you, the listener, your emotional loneliness matters, and you belong in the grief space, and you should have and do have permission to grieve deeply for your pet. That is absolutely true. We want to let go of the trying to control how other people, trying to force or make other people understand our grief when it comes to the death of our pet. Some people just don't get it. We need to redirect and focus on the people that we feel may understand more or may get it, who have maybe been through this before, to open our hearts to those people and to kind of try to let go gently of trying to make our closest people in our life who actually don't get it, us trying to just scream it at them going, how do you not understand how I feel? It's just to nearly walk away, to be gentle with yourself from that and just focus on what feels good for you, where you get the support. Another thing I'd like to discuss is the question that I get asked, what if I could have done more? The what ifs. And I know that if you're listening, you'll have asked yourself those questions, all of the what ifs. And the whole theme around asking yourself those questions is guilt and regret after the death of your pet. That guilt that just festers and just chews us up, really. If you're replaying moments in your head, for example, wondering if you missed a sign, or whether you made the wrong decision, or whether you waited too long or didn't wait or didn't do things sooner, you're not alone in that. Those are normal questions, moments to be replaying in your head. Totally normal. It's so common to second guess your decisions around medical care, euthanasia timing, or even just whether your pet suffered too much. Those are common questions. They're normal. You're human. Guilt shows up in our grief. It's often an attempt to, let's say, regain control when everything feels out of control, because those end-of-life decisions, and even if there wasn't any end-of-life decisions and it was a sudden traumatic death, it still feels like everything is out of control, and we try to attempt to regain the control by second-guessing ourselves and ruminating and replaying questions over in our mind. So our intentions matter more than perfection. And I'm not a big fan of this term, but you did your best with the knowledge and capacity and resources that you had at the time of when it happened. And you had good intentions, loving intentions. So those what ifs, and a way to soften that guilt is really to do some grounding techniques, to do some deep breathing, box breathing, like I've shared before. Just put it into YouTube, box breathing. Do a couple of rounds of that and really try to shift your focus that is on guilt and replaying moments into just calming your nervous system. Another question that's often asked is, why do I still cry? Shouldn't I be over this by now? And that term, getting over this or moving on with my life, and we don't have to. We don't have to get over the death of our pet. We don't have to move on from the death of our pet. It's how we move through the grief, through it. There's so much shame and confusion around long-term grief about the amount of time that we're grieving. And there is no timeline. There is no set amount of time that you have to grieve or need to grieve or should be grieving for your pet. It's something that we learn to live alongside. We grow with our grief. So one day you might feel okay, and the next you're brought to your knees by a trigger, a scent, a sound, a memory. That's the joy of grief. That's the waves of grief. It'll just hit you at any moment. And crying, whether for days, months, years later, is a sign of love. Not weakness, not failure. Crying is grieving. Crying is healthy. Crying is helpful. Crying equals grieving. And if you're not a person that cries, you're grieving in other ways, unless you're suppressing and pushing down the grief. There's a lot of societal pressure to appear strong, in inverted commas, or to suppress your tears, like I just mentioned. So this is a damaging mindset to have, and to have a mindset of, I just want to get on with things, I just want to keep busy, I just want to stay strong, I'm a strong person, I've been through worse, my family, and something that was said to me the day that my dog died, my dad said, my last name, you're a Griffey, you're strong. And that was the message I received. It was like, pull yourself together, you're strong. It comes from a good place, of course, but that messaging, I've never forgotten that sentence that was said to me, and that messaging has been damaging over time. How I received that was, you're this person, you're strong. You just need to get through it. Just get on with life. Just get on with it. What if I don't want to get on with life like I didn't? What if I struggle to even get up in the morning, which was a fact? Does that mean I'm weak? Does that mean I'm a failure? Does that mean that I'm not grieving? Does that mean that I'm less of a human? So those are the messages I received internally from hearing that. You have permission to grieve in your own time, in your own way. You do not have to be strong. You do not have to suppress your tears. You do not have to keep busy and get on with life, and time will heal your grief. That's not the truth. That's not reality. And I want you to know that it can take months, it can take years. That's okay. There isn't a set amount of time of when you're going to stop crying, or when. You don't ever have to be over it. I'll never be over the death of my dogs. That's okay. I can still grieve, and I can still process. I've still processed a lot of my grief, but I'll never be over it. I'll never move on from it. I know that sounds a little bit, I'm just passionate about it, I think. And I want you to know that it's okay to feel everything that you're feeling. You have permission to do it. It's valid. It's real. So another question is, like people talk to me about, is I really miss my routine that I had with my pet and all the little things. Just the purpose, the daily routine, the getting up in the morning, the daily moments like that you had with your pet, and it can just put us off kilter. It's all life altering. Down to the daily routine, it's life altering. It's completely different now. Our pets shape our daily rhythms in the day, like feeding times, walks, morning cuddles, nighttime rituals. The list is endless. The daily rhythms that we shared with our pet. Their absence is felt in like the little things, like not hearing their paws, their little nails on the floor, on the wooden floor, not having someone to talk to when you're feeling alone in the evening after work and there's no one around. So it's profound. These absences are profound, and I want to give voice to that and make that important. It's not silly to feel lost without those daily routines that you were used to. It's not stupid, it's not silly, because those routines were the beautiful relationship in motion with your pet. That's what those routines were. So you might ask, what do I do now? Introduce some kind of rituals, some healing rituals into your life now. Not to fill the void, not to replace the routines. For example, light a candle, maybe around the same time as your pet was having their dinner or their breakfast. At a meal time, light a candle. Journal instead of the time that you would normally walk your pet. Do some journaling. Write a letter to your pet instead, just to connect with your pet. Create new rhythms, create new routines that honour what once was with your pet. Have a walk yourself and connect with your pet. When you feel ready, think of some new rhythms that you can create, that you can integrate into your life. And just keeping those little rituals which will be comforting for you. Like maybe playing a song that your pet was familiar with, or lighting a candle, or sitting out watching the sunset and just visualising you with your pet, whispering to your pet, whatever that looks like for you. So the emptiness that you feel matters, it's real, and it's absolutely altering. It's emotional disorientation, that's what it is, because your brain is so used to doing A, B and C in the morning as soon as you wake up. Feed, walk, cuddles, whatever that is, and that's all stopped. That's going to be really hard for your brain to adjust to, your nervous system to adjust to. So you might ask, how do we keep our pet's memory alive? Like, how do I continue that bond? And I've spoken about continuing bonds before, and it's really, really important. So it's important for you to introduce the idea that you don't have to let go of your pet. That you can carry them forward with you in meaningful ways in your life. And I've definitely done lots of episodes about how I carry them with me in meaningful ways in my life. But some examples, maybe create a memory box, or like a photo altar, or a little shrine. Like I said earlier, writing letters to your pet during meal times, or the times you're going to go walking. Times where you're feeling that void, where you're feeling that, this is 6 p.m, this is a hard time for me, or whatever time that is for you. Write a letter to your pet then. Whatever comes up down on paper. Doing something in honour of your pet each year. So for me, I do this big, awesome hike up in Northern Ireland, and in memory of Ozzy and Moose. I do it every year. It's tough. But when it gets to the really tough part, I ask for their help and support. It's like, come on, Ozzy and Moose, push me up this mountain. And I feel so connected to them, and I want to do that every year because it's in honour of everything that they brought to my life. Whether that looks like for you volunteering with the rescue, or volunteering not at a rescue, with any kind of organisation, or it can be personal and private to you, or you can get your family involved, whatever that looks like. So talking to them, whispering to them, keeping that connection, that communication, that line of communication open with them, asking them for signs. You might see a white feather, you might see a robin, the robin's like what I see. get kind of interested in your own personal spiritual practices to keep that connection open. And this is all ways that you can keep your pet's memory alive. And it's not about staying stuck. It's about honouring the love that still remains in your heart. Your heart is full of the love that your pet brought to your life. It still remains. It's not about staying stuck. So shift from pain to connection without letting go of your pet. It's shifting from the pain to the connection, to the continuing bond without letting go, if that makes sense. So I've touched on really the main universal challenges on this episode. I hope it's been of some help. If some of those challenges were at the forefront of your pet loss experience at the moment, I am with you in it. My heart is with you. It's tough going. It's not easy. But connecting with you, with your grief, connecting with your own grief is what's gonna really, really help. So gifting yourself time to sit still with your grief and honouring that in all of the different ways that are possible. But yeah, I'm thinking of you all. If you are feeling that these main challenges are consuming you, you find it hard to navigate life, pick up a copy of my book, The Pet Loss Journals, because it will help you to understand those complex emotions of pet grief. It will help you to find comfort in shared experiences and help you to validate the feelings that you're having, and it'll help you to discover hope and healing through lots of guided reflection. I'll be holding your hand. I'll be there with you in it. And there's lots of ways how you can honour and celebrate the memory of your pet in the book. So that'll be linked in the show notes. But for anyone who has bought a copy, thank you. And your feedback is incredible. My heart is so full from so many amazing messages and emails. And I'll keep spreading this awareness. Yeah. I'm just feeling very somber and feeling very thinking of all of you listening who are struggling right now, and just know that there's a huge community of us that are going through something similar, and you're not alone in it. And just get up in the morning and take one step at a time. But until next week, take care.